Okay. Did I miss anything? Did I screw anything up? Possibly. Keyboard. We are chat. Done. There. Close enough. Huzzah! Well, for me, this is actually starting pretty well on time, I suppose. Welcome, everyone, to tonight's lovely stream. Denny, welcome to the fun. My apologies there. Of course, I decided to start talking. I may have been talking all this time, but as soon as I try and talk on stream, that's when my throat wants to clear. Yeah, that's how the world works, right? So I'm going to start by hydrating again. Where are you? Where are you? Woo! Where? Oh, that's my keyboard, so it's more this way. That's monitor. Hey, I found the water. Yay! There we go. Start the stream off right with me drinking water. Yeah, better. Hello, Wild, and hello, Maki. Welcome to the fun. Denny says, I got back into Tamagotchi life on 3DS. Congratulations. So far, that game never stole my existence, so you can have that one. I know a bunch of people that were playing it, and it just never hit me. Well, it is Monday, and I actually thought ahead this week. I remembered to jot down some notes of things to talk about because, well, I'm professional here. Professional. I am not. And I actually remembered to turn off things like the Cult of the Lamb, donate to my totem and stuff for this stream so people don't waste points. Because I don't want you to waste your precious pink bow points. It's a weird game. Speaking of games, I'm going to do Retro Game Expo on Saturday and Sunday. Woot! Have fun. Get some good stuff. If you spot a copy of either of the Nintendo G.I. Joe games at a reasonable price, let me know. They're on my still wish list for that system. I think the only other one on that system that's on my wish list was the original Kid Icarus. And to be honest, I kind of feel like the Game Boy version was better than the NES version. It had less colors, but it played a lot better. Still, once. Well, we'll start off today with a fun, clean topic. Clean being the optimal word for what happened. 3D Classic Kid Icarus is better. Oh, you mean the one for the 3DS? I played Kid Icarus on my green screen Game Boy back when it was new, and for me, I retro to that. I retro to that pretty hard. Hey, Master of Fluff, just wanted to thank you and Fopsu for the gift subs. I didn't tune in nearly enough, but to make them... Oh, it's okay. Well, welcome in, Master of Fluff. We appreciate you being here. So welcome. Come enjoy the chaos for as much as we can give you. It has quality of life changes to the NES one. Yes, it really does. The fact the original NES one, if you made the screen go up, you could contra kill yourself by going downward. So the Game Boy one, you actually could go backwards. And yay, Denny's been falling for 2 months, 19 days, and an hour. That hour makes all the difference. And yay, shakes pom-poms. Silly master of fluff. Hello, Wizard Wolf. Welcome to tonight's chaos. Don't worry, you haven't missed anything yet. Mendy, also following for... Wow, yeah, Mendy's been following me for ages. Long before my actually streaming stuff. 1 year, 9 months, 19 days, and 20 hours. You are more a fan of me than I am. The 3D Classics one saves and wing flying. I just hated the controls on it. The fact that you had to use the stylus on the screen. And it came with little kickstand to make things work. It made it complicated. Maki's apparently been following me for 3 months, 18 days, and 19 hours. And Wizard Wolf has been following me for 6 days, 22. Your new's fine. You know what? I don't judge. You can be new and still be with me. It's the NES game in 3D, hence the 3D Classics. Yeah, makes sense. Cool. Yeah. Been more of a PlayStation and Xbox than Nintendo. Nintendo Vision 3D. Nice. Well, back when I started playing games, you had 3 choices. Intellivision, ColecoVision, and Atari. We went Atari. After that, you had one new real choice, and that was the Nintendo. Not Wii, not Cube, no, the Nintendo Entertainment System. I moved to Xbox because the Switch killed my mood for modern Nintendo. That's fair. My secondary turned into a PlayStation land whenever that became an option. PS2 was my first DVD player, and haven't turned back from there. My childhood was filled with Twisted Metal 2 on PS1. Add a break! Oh no! You will be back. Don't worry, ads don't last long. I'm watching my little clock here. I'll not do anything too interesting. I thought they had to put out press kits telling the advertisers to stop calling the NES Nintendo. It was the Nintendo. I have a Nintendo Wii with the Homebrew channel and custom Mario Kart on it. I haven't played forever. Nice. Yeah, we have the Homebrew channel on ours as well. I mean, I wouldn't know anything about that. Nothing. Yes, welcome back. My childhood was filled with Twisted Metal Deuce on the PS1. Oh. Now that stuff was out when I was in college. And in later years. Video game, press button, make game go burr. I love the 3DS, but I feel like the Nintendo games are losing steam for me. I need to find a way to mod my 2DS XL. Yeah, I think I have enough 2D side-scrolling Mario games. I don't need too many more of those. I was never really a big Smash Brothers person, but I do enjoy watching people play it. Same with Mario Kart. They're fine. I don't have a problem with them. The last Metroid just made me angry. I love 3DS, but I feel like Nintendo games are losing their steam. Yeah. Um, did anyone catch the Twisted Metal TV series? I did not. I didn't even know it had a TV series. The custom Mario Kart is CTGP Revolution, I think. I can't remember. Cool. I looked at my 3DS, and it's such a time capsule. I'll be honest, I do love all of my handheld Nintendo products. Up until, I suppose, including the Switch. I still have my gray Game Boy bricks, 2 of them. My Game Boy Color, both variants of Game Boy Advance, the sideways thing that looked like a Game Gear and the flippy one. DS Lite, a 3DS, and a new 3DS. It's always good to have that kind of stuff for traveling if you're not the wheelman. Good way to just kill time. There was plenty of those games that are still way playable from that stretch, and I own a lot of those. Then I went to Twisted Metal Black on PS2 amongst dozens of other games. Once you go black, you never go back. Yeah, I got you there, Midney. I figured you're I felt you. Master Fluff, no, please no spoilers. Denny, they ported FNAF to the new 3DS XL via homebrew. Definitely not my flavor. I am not a scare tactics game person. Those games never did anything for me. My 3DS is collecting dust next to my bed. Mine's in a box. It's in one of my different cases. Are you planning to mod my Game Boy with black backlight? Nah. Reason being, I have the Game Boy Advance SP, so if I want to play with backlight, I will bust out that little flipper boy. It does a good job. It does a decent screen. I kind of want to take my 3DS on my trip and see if I get any new Street Pass. If you came this direction, I would make sure we turned on all 4. I think we still have all 4 3DS-ians. Because I know I have a new 3DS, a 3DS. Fopsy has the XL new 3DS. I don't remember if she kept her original or if she traded that in. I might think about doing a retro arc on 2DS XL. Nice. Always fun to do all that retro stuff. That way, you can carry around a lot of games and not have to worry as much. I know the sound isn't the best, but my little AtGames handheld that I have all of Genesis on, that thing is a tank. It has a long battery life, and well, basically, I can play any Genesis game I want at any given time, at any comfortable location. And the screen's actually decent. Also, there's the 6-button controller variant, so 100% all the way. And between my portable games actual library from collected from when I was a child all the way up to now, I have a ton of everything from original gray brick Game Boy up through 3DS-y land stuff that I can easily take on fun times. TMB Tenchu Wrath of Heaven DBZ Budokai 3 Tekken 4 Star Wars Battlefront 2 Lego Star Wars WW Edward Schmack 'em down. Here comes the pan. Sled Storm. Cabela's Dangerous Hunts. That was amongst the bulk of my most played PS2 gamos. Good choices. I need to ping you at some point over Pokemon Rescue. Is this a game I need to play? Am I failing at playing a Pokemon game that I'm supposed to? Sing me a story in French. Mon petit chouchou à l'instant. That is about all of the French I know. Sorry. In high school, I had 1 year of Spanish, which I know how to ask a couple things like hello, hola, ¿cómo estás? Muy bien, gracias. ¿Cuántos apartamentos para alquilar? Hello, how are you? I'm good. And how many apartments do you have for rent? It's Alistance, the Strabanoy. Yes, Alistance is the Strabanoy. And I appreciate when the Benoy comes to my place. And here comes enjoy my chats too. Can't believe it. I can believe it. Because Alistance is my friend. Friend Bunny. Friend Bunny shows up because Friend Bunny likes me. And I like Friend Bunny. And for once, I'm not actually being a bunny. I just decided to be my Hobkin Redux today. Meow. One of the DS accessories I picked up was a carrying case. Derp, my mystery dungeon, not rescue. Oh, that's right. I had a mystery dungeon that you were missing. I was going to give that to you. Because I picked it up thinking it was a regular Pokemon game, and I tried playing it for a few seconds, and I hated it. But it's the one you're actually missing, so I'd more than happily fix your collection than have a game I don't care about. So, by all means, next time you're in town, steal it off me. Yeah. As tradition with me, the past few months I've been overwhelmed, and I apparently permanently lost a few spoons since last year. Oh no! I hope your head goes better. I know what it's like when you lose spoons. It sucks. We all only have so many spoons in our lives, and hopefully, through calmness and reality, you will be able to regenerate some spoon and have more happies. I have Mystery Dungeon on 3DS, but never got into it. Fair. I tried to play one of them, it just didn't do me. Man, my high school Spanish class was essentially taught me how to count to 10 in Spanish, colors, and basically a couple of episodes of Dora Explorer teaches me more than Spanish 2 years of high school class. I agree. Alistance deserves hugs. And yeah, my 1 year of high school Spanish, I felt about the same. But yo no estoy Dora the Explorer, she was after my time. I want to love Mystery Dungeon, but the stories are great. But I don't like turn-based RPGs. That's understandable. I actually really do like the turn-based RPG stuff. I remember starting that way bajillion years back with Final Fantasy, before they had numbers attached to them, when they actually thought it was going to be their final game. So for me, I've enjoyed turn-based RPGs since then. One of the things I got for my during my DS era was a carrying case that had this little flip-out card holder dealie. It holds a ton of DS games and of course 3DS games because they fit in the same little sleevey bits. So I have this double-sided flap that is full of DS and 3DS games for traveling with it. It takes up almost no room, and it's an easy way to have a library go with you, just to to have choices. How many fantasies can be the final fantasy? Yes. Well, each one does potentially generate a new end of the world. One of which really did have an end of the world. I think that was 6. Been having a rough one this year, feeling like everything I used to like, just not the same nor enjoyable. I feel the stress and trauma a lot. Not going to trauma dump. It's understandable. But yeah, I've had years like that. This year I've actually been slowly trying to get back into things and get some of the fun back. I tried to cheat and take basic Spanish a second time after Spanish 2. Almost got away with it after a couple of classes, and then they caught on that I knew and sent me to chorus. Aww. Yeah, wanted the easy A. Honestly, in my senior year, I needed a final math course. I was already going to be valedictorian, pretty much set. So I just took accounting. I was just like, you don't have anybody that's going to be able to teach me a higher math class. We already figured this out the previous year, and I had to teach myself. Just give me accounting, and I will take my clear off the board. There's never any final to Final Fantasy. Yeah, kinda. Oh yes, Kefka, my favorite villain of the two I know. He was fun. One contains me, the best Final Fantasy. I took German in high school, and I flunked out of the second year of it. German's fun. Don't forget 14 exists. Final Fantasy wasn't final bloot since they are still making more games. Well, my probability class ended up learning how to gamble. Nice. Well, they literally made Final Fantasy in the concept the company thought they were about to have to shutter the doors. So they actually named Final Fantasy because they just wanted to go out with a bang. That was literally why the name came to existence. It's silly, but real. And here we are. Was it 16 just came out? And we had 2 Final Fantasy MMORPG PBGs. Hydrate, yeah, probably a good idea. Thank you, Mindy. You're a good tiger. There it is. Found it. Oh, actually, I closed the window. That's all right. Delicious water. Ignore my broken hand while I, I'm holding a water bottle. There we go. Chat, come back. Yay! Love that. 14. I never played any of the any MMORPG type games that required a subscription because I'm bad at being able to commit to a game, and I feel like I would just be stuck paying a fee and not get around to enjoying it. Dragon Quest server on the Wii U is still shutting down in Japan. Aww. It always sucks when those kinds of servers just go down. I know it costs money to keep them turned on, but it's like a game disappears, and we all lose it. One game I've been trying to get back into was Borderlands 2. That's a fun one. I was streaming that for quite a while here. Only just recently stopped. I loved Borderlands 2. That game has over 1,000 hours of my playtime. I only have brain space for one MMO. I can understand that. I barely have time to play non-MMO or RPGs that don't require any other person to be able to play at the time I'm playing. It's hard enough for me to find mental space anymore / actual time space where I can play a game to enjoy, let alone going around when, there's the raid for Slagadoth the dragon, and we're meeting up at 9 p.m. on Wednesday, and I can't do that. I can't. And all the daily grind quests and stuff, like pick 14 yellow flowers or something. I remember when Javi was visiting in Pittsburgh area, and he had to go pick 14 yellow flowers in WoW. He does not play that game anymore. You can play Final Fantasy 14 for free till Heaven's Sworn. It's for the multiplayer side for Dragon Quest Wii U. Oh, cool. What was my build in Borderlands? All of them. I played every character through, at least through 2 playthroughs. I even redid most of them, tried different spec directions on each of them, just to enjoy pretty much everything on every character. My Borderlands build 2 was yes. I originally played as Zero. I think my favorite at this point is Gage, though. I love being a little necromancer. Still need to get back into Diablo 4, but Builders... Blabla's Gate 3 has now kicked in my door. Yes. Yes, it has. It was fun having you and the Fopsy playing Blabla Gate the other night. I enjoyed that. I may not... Those kind of games are a little bit too into for me to feel like I have time to get to. But I like that other people get to enjoy them. I feel like they take too much mind commit for me. Kind of like you could only have space for one MMORPG. Yeah, those kind of games, I don't have enough headspace for them any given time. How much hanging out have you done in VRC? Speaking of MMOs. Not as much as I'd like. Besides my Monday streams, lately I've only been making it to one group gathering on Saturday nights. Sometimes a second one if I get in there early enough to go to the bird meet. I'll go and be a little Avali with a little Chipori with my Chipori friends. Fortunately, though, this only had the one-time physical cost because I haven't paid for the VR Plus, whatever that's called. Only because I wanted to make sure I was going to enjoy this before I committed any more money, a monthly fee to it. In Borderlands 2, I either go with Gunzerker or Sacco. I never really liked the physical attacks in Borderlands or any first-person shooter. That's why I tended not to go for the Psycho or Brick in the first one. Gunzerker's fun and all, but I feel like I waste ammo a lot quicker with them. That's me. They're just not my favorites. Granted, I've played through both of them, so I enjoyed them enough to go all the way through. But I'm a sniper at heart, and I like having a robot that goes and does things for me. Our weeknights are Game Monday, Barotrauma on Tuesday, Final Fantasy 14, Wednesday, and whatever on Friday. It's Game Heavy House. I'm proud of you. I wish I had enough heads left in me after working all day for 8 hours to want to play these kind of games more. But sadly, the older I get, the less, and the more work is, the less I really feel it. But I'm trying to make sure I do keep playing games. That's actually why I started streaming, is because it not only forced me to be social, at least one day out of the week. Now, it's 2 now. It started with 1, but it made sure I was being social and playing a video game. And I feel that's been a good thing for me. I love going to fandom worlds every now and then just to go people watching. I can understand that. That can be fun. Something went ding. Oh, Hydra Wolf 29. Thank you for following. Welcome to my stream. Please enjoy. I'm mostly babbling on Mondays, and Wednesdays I play game and fursuit. So, around the same time, both those days, you can find me here. Yeah, people watching can be fun. Most of the time when I'm hanging out with furries, I end up going to one of my friends and just plopping on them and hang out with whoever they're hanging out with. Usually that's one of the safest ways I found to actually make new friends. I mean, that's how I met Maki. I homed in one of my friends and he was there. We met. Other random, less structured things happens. We're currently working on private Red Dead server. Ooh. I played the original one. I installed the second one. I never started it. I feel bad. Fopsy played through most of the demo, the intro for that, but never made it through. I just finished Tears of the Kingdom last night. Now I don't have any games to play at the moment. Well, sure you do. I'm sure there's a lot more Tears of the Kingdom you can unlock. If it's anything like the last one, there's probably a billion more tiny dungeons out there. My Gunzerker build has me regenerate both health and ammo, so I can be mag dumping. Yeah, that's the way to be. Regenerate health, regenerate ammo, keep shooting. In the first game, I made it my point to go and find as many ammo regenerating weapons as I could and try to just use those as much as possible. It's a fun chance to decompress and get my social times in since moving. I totally agree. Spending time here in Twitch or whatever streaming platform makes you happy. I don't judge. Kick, Picardo, whatever does your doodlies. It does really help getting out there. Hydra Wolf 29 says, I hope you have a good and safe day. I have so far had a rather good and safe day. I had to get up an hour early for unhappy mandatory overtime, but other than that, it's been fine. And I basically, I didn't overstress and work any extra hard because of that extra hour. I probably did less than my usual amount of work during the day because they made work an extra hour. I've done more with online than story. Makes sense. Sunny beat the store, and I'm not ready for emotion. The story, and I'm not ready for emotion again. There. That's why I actually couldn't get finish Final Fantasy 15. Fopsy made it past a certain point, and I liked glasses too much. I didn't want him to have problems, so I never went that far. What got me into the furry fandom? That's an interesting one. Ever since I was in high school and I had my first computer I put together in my bedroom from stuff from a garbage. Literally, I had some 386 parts from a dumpster from where my dad works that I was able to put together. And I was drawing in MS Paint. I was staring at pictures and pixel redrawing things from Disney cartoons. I was a 101 Dalmatians fan since forever, and I really was into it. It wasn't until after college that I found furry art websites because, well, that's around when the internet became more of a thing. Dial-up. I found the website, the Furry Fandom. Furry, something like that. The Fur something. It was Tawny's website. And couldn't turn back from there. Lion King Fan Art Archive, also where I met Mendy. That is an age ago. That's Maki's lifetime ago that I met Mendy on the furry on the Lion King fan art, the furry forum. That's what it was. You can see how long ago this has been. And 2002, I officially accepted the furry fandom, and I accepted the furry fandom into my life, and I was touched. It was touched. I felt it deep in my heart of hearts. And in 2003, I went to my first furry con in the Czech Republic, Eurofurence number 9. It's all downhill from there. Walkout me in was Wolves. My aunt got me into Wolves. Nice. Wolves is good. Nothing wrong with Wolves. I have a couple different puppy-ish sonai, like I have a purple husky and a pink coyote, which I love being as well. Dalmatians was my jam until TL. You too? Great. No wonder we're such good friends. Which I'm happy that she did that. Yay! I'm glad your aunt got you into woofies too. And yay for the furry forum. That was a fun place. Sadly, apparently Photobucket has gone the way of the dodo, so all of my character pictures from the furry forum that were hosted there are now gone. We'll pour one out to the Photobucket. You were bought out or something, and you now suck. Yeah. Do you like anime like Dragon Ball? Oh, yeah. Dragon Ball's fun. I haven't watched too much of the new stuff lately. The Dragon Ball Super, is it? I can't remember what it's called at the moment. I did get a little ways into it when I was watching on one of the free anime streaming services, but I got tired of trying to read TV. I hate when I have to read a cartoon because I'm not the fastest reader, so I'm either reading or watching. So I usually wait for a dubbed variant. I have watched all of Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT. They're all fun. And I own some of them on DVD. So there's that. At o'clock. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll try not to be too exciting for the next minute and a half-ish. Minute and a half-ish. In fact, I will take that moment to grab some water. Hydrate. Willingly. And there it is. Water. Yes, I liked Lord Beerus. Yay, welcome back. I hope it wasn't too boring. But I agree, Lord Beerus was fun. I liked his character. I'll get around to finishing that once they, have enough for me to continue watching in English that I can get to without having to do it illegally, because when you work in the DMCA security at a company, you learn what happens if you do boo-boo, and I do not want to risk doing boo-boo. Word to the wise, DMCA is no joke. Do not poke the bear. That becomes very dangerous. I'm going to change something. Yep. Back, expression. Nope, not sleep. Clothes. Hood toggle. There, I want to put my hood on. There, I fell for a little change of scenery. Beerus is in Fortnite now. Because of him, I got into Fortnite and met a lot of friends. Neat. I have never played Fortnite. I apologize to any of my Fortnite stands out there. That's, That's definitely not my crowd, but you can enjoy that for as much as you like. It's just not my game. You tried it. You've done more than me. I've seen people play it, and that's about as far as I get. I can watch people playing it, but I can watch a lot of games being played and just not enjoy them. And that's okay. That's what everyone else's streams are for. Something for me to watch and not something for me to do. Yeah. Boop. Have you ever seen someone made Beirut or Champa fursuit in the fan? I have not. Amongst all the many different suits I've seen, that's not been one that's popped up for me. Multiplayer gaming is more of a social experience for me than about the game, so I'll try something multiplayer if the person I'm trying to sell me on is someone that I like enough. That I can agree with. For that matter, what got me into Borderlands originally was a friend bought me a copy of the first game, and we played together as a group. 4 of us playing all 4 different characters from the original game, all together, going through the story together. Again, cooperative over competitive, so it made it more fun. And, well, playing with my friends, going through a fun story was interesting. And the first story was abruptly cut because of time constraints and budgets. And it was still a fun story. Especially more fun when I had 3 friends with me. I don't care for competitive games. Co-op is king. Heck yeah. I was even recently watching a couple of my friends here on Twitch playing the original Halo off the Master Chief Collection or whatever's. I thought that was great fun seeing them playing OG Halo together and having a good time. I could definitely get down for that. I have one unposted Stumpy. Okay. Apparently I got something in someone else's channel. Go me! I'll put that on the things that I haven't gotten around to dealing with. Thing checked on. But yes, I don't really like big competitive all out for your own games, fight everybody else things. Battle Royales in general, that stuff never really got me too hard. And I'd say my first online gaming experiences really set into that opinion because in college, back at that time, high-speed internet was not even very common in the United States. It was actually the rarity. And I say high-speed internet meaning anything above dial-up. In fact, dial-up wasn't necessarily the same everywhere. Where I was staying in college, at best, I was getting about 25K dial-up connection. So I played Unreal Tournament online and I found out how much my connection speed made a difference. I had a pretty decent computer at the time, but playing with that slow of an internet connection just didn't happen. They're making a Zootopia 2, and I am very glad on that. No, I had a 56K modem. But the lines I was connecting to and the location I was connected to didn't make up to the 56K. whenever I started internet back in the early 90s, I had a 2400 baud modem. So 2.4K. Granted, there all I had was the access to the BBS from our bank, which is where we got our free internet from. And I downloaded a lot of shareware games using my free 2 hours a day to download a couple of megabytes worth of files so that I could play things like Jazz Jackrabbit on my home computer. You play RPG like Skyrim? Skyrim qualifies as an RPG. Kind of does, yeah. Well, I've never played any of the Bethesda games of those sorts. Not knocking it, but my choice means nothing. That's another one I don't mind watching people play, but I never jumped into that world. In fact, that's one of the game series I started watching people playing back in the early 2Ks when my roommate and at the time best friend got an original Xbox and got Morrowind. So I watched that game exist since way back then. It was fun to spectate on that. But my preferred RPG type is more battle mech-y. I really played the pen and paper version and tabletop variant of BattleTech back from the 90s originally. And I still play it today with its newest iterations, and I've just found another set of mans I need to pick up on Amazon like last night. It's on my list to do. It's $36, and I need them. They need to join my army. So that's my better speed. I have played a lot of sword and sorcery type RPGs over the years. Shining the Darkness on the Genesis was definitely one that I put a lot of hours into. Obviously, Final Fantasy 1 I did. Final Fantasy US 2/4. Heck yeah. And several of the other ones here and there. 13s, 14 or 15s. You should try Kodan on PS1. They're making a remaster of it. And the second one as well. Oh. I have not heard of that one. That sounds interesting. Adjusting the playstyle in Baldur's Gate has been a thing. Yeah. I almost played D&D twice. Okay, technically I played D&D once, and I almost played it one previous time. After about 2 days of going through making a character sheet, and we didn't have a copy or a printer, so I had to rewrite the entire sheet out on a couple of pages on a 3-ring binder, and I finally got all the way done making a character, and I was bored at that point. Once in the last decade or so, we went to a friend's house who had characters all set up, and we played through a short campaign together, and that was fun. But I honestly find those kinds of things in person can get boring if you're not in a comfortable position and or if nothing's happening. Like Mystery Dungeon, it's kind of similar but faster. Hi. You like fighting games like Tekken, Street Fighter, or Smash Bros? Not excessively. Back in the early fighting game days, I sided more with Mortal Kombat over Street Fighter. But that only lasted up through maybe Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat 3-ish. I think the names of these games don't always make sense to me. some of my first arcade machine experience was playing Street Fighter, though, so that says something. We do buy every Smash Brothers game because the Fopsu does really like them, and it's fun to have those around. Uh, but they're not really my thing. I tend to play if everyone else wants to, not because I enjoy it. I liked what in-person TTRPG could offer, but in my very, very brief attempt, it stopped too suddenly. Um, in the same way, I'm with Crash and Spyro. I prefer Spyro over Crash. I can feel you on having these kinds of opinions over stuff like that. And yes, I actually agree. Spyro's way cooler than Crash. Him would drag him go fire breath. Funny enough, when I got my PS2, that was my first PlayStation system. The day I picked up my PS2, I picked up the original Spyro collection. All 3 discs in a little paper sleeve to hold the 4 jewel cases. So that was 3 of my first Sony system-based games. And I never finished any of them because that's also around the time I didn't have time to play half my games. Spyro does have beautiful levels and music. They are pretty nifty. From what I've played of them, they were all pretty darn fun. No complaints. No complaints. Spyro is a good little dragon bluff. Heck, I even have the first 3 Skylanders games, which barely counts as Spyro, but you can play Spyro, so that's something. Spyro's a good critter. He's a good little dragaboop. Also, he's a cute color. I like him. And my apologies if I'm a little tired. I mentioned earlier, but I'll mention it again. Today and every Monday through this month, we have mandatory overtimes on Mondays. The last 2 weeks, it was the end of my shift, meaning my stream would have been an hour later. These 4 weeks coming up, this week and the next 3, it's at the beginning of my shift on a Monday, meaning I have to wake up an hour early on Monday, and my body barely thinks of the weekends that I should go to bed when I'm supposed to, let alone an hour earlier than I normally would for work. So I didn't sleep very well last night. And then I was up for an extra hour before for work, and I worked an extra hour, and didn't even get quite a good lunch nap today. Steam is dangerous because you don't see how many games you actually have. Oh, yes. Yes. I'm going to agree on that. The number of games I got from Humble Bundles over the years, and then all the other games I picked up on purpose, it's crazy how many games are just kind of there that I've spent money on that I don't have physical copies of, and if Steam ever dies, I don't know if I get to keep those. You like movies like action, comedy, or horror? Comedy, yes. Action, yes. Horror, not as much. The only horror I really think I got in... The only things I think that count as horror that I've gotten into, for some reason I like the Hellraiser series. I actually just find their world interesting. That's why I like the concept of the puzzle and the Painiverse or whatever it is, where they all come from. And Alien movies, I like, as in Aliens, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection, that kind. Some people call those horror movies, so I guess at least the first one was kind of a horror movie. The rest were basically action shoot 'em ups of some sort, with a little bit of a horror aspect, because you gotta have a bad guy to shoot at. Comedy, by far, yes, I love comedy. And action, yes. Comic book movies, very much so, and other action in general, yes. You've seen Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th. I've seen a few of those. Yeah, that's the kind of horror I don't really care for. Me and my sister were exposed way too early to horror movies. Way too early. Yeah, I think that was part of my problem. I was way too young when we were at my aunt's house and they put in It. And we all sat and watched It together. And yep, nope. Ironically, I did end up buying both the new and old It's a few years ago, or whenever the new one finished and it was all on disc. I bought them because I was curious, and the old one was only like $5. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it another shot as an adult. And I was like, oh, this is just kind of dumb. But it had Tim Curry going, and I was like, yeah, that's still good. That's hard not to love. Your mom was really into the horror. Mine wasn't. Not even close. We developed different opinions. Me, never watched them. Her, she developed a kink for monsters. Nice. Yep, they remade It. I got both copies. I think the first one was better and scarier. Especially when you take into perspective the time it was made. I find it to have been a better movie. And the original Pennywise, I actually found scarier. For how he was and how he acted, I felt he was a better creepy monster thing. The bathtub scene made me decide never to watch it again. Yeah, I can see that. Speaking of bathtub scenes, one horror movie I did watch, The Ring, and the bathtub scene in that one would make me never want to watch it again, because, nope. Tim Curry is just, all in all, a better villain, monster, supernatural force. Completely, 110%. Tim Curry equals, you're going to have a good time. I don't care what you're getting in for. I'm pretty sure the first place I saw him was there. But then the next place would have been as Dr. Frankfurter, that I remember him specifically. And you never unsee Dr. Frankfurter. No one but him could have put off such a performance for Dr. Frankfurter. It just, there's no way around it. He just is. I agree with the original Pennywise scared me. Yes. He was amazing and scary. He did a much better. The new one, I was just like, Greening 10101. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for the follow. Welcome in. We are chatting about things. We're chatting about whatever people are wanting to talk about more than anything else. I like this way better. Anytime people do have things to talk about, I actually have a list on the left side of my monitor with like 9 topics in case we ran out of things to talk about. And I haven't had to touch one of them yet, so we're doing pretty good. People actually started talking right away, which is the best way these kinds of streams can go. If we run out of talking modes, I will happily bring all these things up. And we have a redeem. An uwu. I'm going to make sure I do this right. Uwu. Uwu. All the stands want some uwu. You get lots of uwu. I will give you uwus. You can have uwu. Uwu. Uwu accomplished. Have you seen the kids show Arthur? Nope. That did not come out till after I had grown up. I'm what you would refer to as old. Back in my day when I was little, I remember we had weird. That was surprisingly pleasant. Thank you. I do my best. When I was little, I remember Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers, 321 Contact, Romper Room. That's all the ones I actually remember. Yeah. I'm sure there were other ones at the time, but, when you lived off of the antenna television and you had what channels you did. Ironically, we had two PBS-y type channels. We had PBS and a WQED, and they were both different, slightly. Pee-wee's Playhouse, yes, I remember when that came out. I remember when that disappeared randomly, and it wasn't until later I found out why. I was adult years old before I found out why it was just taken off the air and no one talked about it again. I am kind of sad about Paul Rubin at this point. He was a fun critter. Well, hello, Sirthas. Wow, what a cool dog. Well, kinda. Not exactly a bow wow. This would be a Hopkin Redux that I am right now. Such big ears. Yep. Hopkins do have big old floppy ears. We are a fun critter. But yee. Wobble, 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 wobble. A what? Found out I've been passing away, though. Yeah, unfortunately, that did happen recently. Hobkin, as Allison's just said there. Hobkin. We are a fantasy-created species generated initially here in VR chat by Hubbard. Hubbard, I don't know the rest of his name. Just this universe, VR chat. Hubbard Evie. Huh, thank you, Austin. Austin actually knows more stuff than I do. Him smart. I actually have several different Hobkin things in my repertoire. And we do have all of the Hubbard library sitting on our hard drive waiting to be uploaded. I have several of them so far, and we need to do the rest. But that's I'm not pushing Fopsy. She's very busy, and I don't expect her to spend all her time in Unity uploading avatars for me. What's my favorite Pokemon? Oh, that's easy. Mewtwo. No question. Mewtwo. Eevee! Well, Seth, that is a good choice. Hubbard Eevee's universe is a post-apocalyptic universe where humans destroyed themselves with nuclear stuff, then nuclear reactions generated magic, then magic generated intelligent animal creatures like Hopkins. Eevee noises! Yes, Wild also likes Eevees a lot. Volpira in WoW. You like them? Don't know. Never played WoW. Reason why is I can't really get into MMORPGs, so they're not really my bag. Anything that involves a monthly fee to be able to keep playing a game, it's harder for me to want to commit to it unless I know I'm going to be able to commit to it. Because then I'd feel bad if I stopped paying and I lost my ability to progress and lost all of what I've done just because I stopped paying some company $5 a month to be not playing this game that I haven't played for 6 months. Long story short, yeah, not my big games. Hugs. Yay, hugs. Hug at you, Maki. Okay, my Mr. Big Shot, I have a life. Yeah, it's not so much I have a life. It's I have a jorb, and my jorb takes up too much of my headspace and free time. And by the time I'm off work, I don't often have time or energy to play games. Which is kind of a sad situation because job is what makes me be able to afford games. But job also mean your job. J to the O to the B. The thing that earns you money. The thing I have to spend 40 plus hours a week doing every week just to keep a roof over my head. Yeah, unfortunately, that particular part of life takes away a lot of human space. And you add into that all the other things of adulting. We are a homeowning couple. So we also have to mow the lawn, do the laundry, cook dinner, vacuum, dust, all of the adult things that take up a lot of your free time, grocery shopping. Since I don't have a mommy and a daddy that goes and does all that stuff for me, unfortunately, don't have as much time to play everything anymore. I wish I did. What time I do have, I don't necessarily have the energy to do stuff. I do my best, but, we're all limited. Do you have the new Pokemon games? For once, I have to say no. We have not bought the newest Pokemon game yet, but we probably will sooner or later. My Hopkins adorable. Oh, thank you, Maki. I really like being my Redux here. I feel it represents me pretty well. Last week I was the Hypno Hopkin on stream, and I have a couple other Hopkins in my repertoire. So they're always fun critters to flop into. Where am I located? U.S. or Europe? United States, Eastern Time Zone specifically, near the Great Lakes area. So, yeah. It is currently 8:10 p.m. where I reside. And if you want my specific location, I am in the dining room. And that is a cutesy voice, Wadim. Okay, well, I had to apparently talk in a cutesy voice for, I think it's 20 minutes. Let me double check, because I haven't had anyone read this in a while. Yeah, I listened there for 20 minutes, so as soon as this time says 8:30, oh, you're going to get an ad break in there almost definitely. I'm sorry. I will continue on afterwards. I'll give you a longer, cute voice. I grew up in the same region of the United States that I currently live in. That's not quite where I am now. And I've lived my whole life in this general area. Same-ish elevation, same time zone. So I've always lived either where I am now or different parts of Pennsylvania. Have you ever played the Borderlands games on the hardest difficulties to manage to beat it? Did I go to the hardest levels? I think I did. It's been a while since I played anything on hard. I normally play it on for funsies, not for hard stuff anymore. It just makes me more entertained. I know a game that I did play on hard mode and beat both ways was the Infamous games, because I was so close to doing all the achievements to get platinum medals on those. I was just like, fluff it, I'm going to go ahead and finish on hard mode and unlock everything. Cutesy voice and a cutesy Hopkin with cutesy beans. I got Donkey Kong 94 on 3DS. Yay! Donkey Kong was fun. I remember playing that on in the arcade when I was little. And I played it on my Atari, which was horrible. We might have it on the ColecoVision TV plug-in system we picked up back about a decade ago and never played. Would you attempt to play Dark Souls? Probably not. I don't think I would enjoy Dark Souls. I don't like games that make it just hard to play for hard to playness. I tend to like games that I'm here to have fun on. When I'm playing a game, I don't want it to make me angry. I'm playing a game to relax and have a good time. And even on games that has, hard modes, I often pick the easy mode just because I want to enjoy the game and have a time, not tend to be just forcing myself to it. And I see a kiss redeem, so okay, I gotta make chat disappear for a second so I can do this right. Let's see, where is the camera physically at? There it is. How am I going to do this? I think I can just stand up and do this. Camera, stay. You move up the S so I know what I'm looking at. Mwah. 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 I kiss the chat. You come back down here so I don't lose you. Fortunately, standing is something I can do. But that does mean I moved my position and my pillow was no longer on the headrest position. I need to put a strap or something on that so it stays up where I like it. There we go. There you go. You got your kiss the chat. Think you'd love to play Super Mario World? Heck yeah, I do. I have played Super Mario World since it was on the Nintendo, the Super Nintendo, back in the early 90s. I own so many versions of Super Mario World at this point. Oh my goodness, do I ever own enough copies of that. And I have beaten all the way through to unlock the final mode where the Koopas all turn to like little Mario mask faces or whatever. So yes, I have played that. Thank you for saying I'm adorable. You're adorable, Maki. Have I ever heard of Lunar Magic? No, that one I have not heard of. That one is new to me. Is it fun? Is it a game? Is it a good game? Have you ever 100% complete Super Mario World? Yes. I certainly have. Is that actual? And yes, Maki, you are cute. Lunar Magic is a Super Mario World editor. Oh, neat. That would be pretty cool to play with. I think we have the first Mario Maker, but not the second one. The new Mario Wonder that'll be coming out looks fun. I'll probably end up buying it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm easily sold on that kind of stuff. You and Fopsy are the adorable. No. Maki, you're adorable. Fopsy's adorable. I'm a pink Hopkin monster. I was right. Lunar Magic was for making ROM hacks of Super Mario. I knew I remembered it. Ostads, you are smart. Become the Huffalump. No, I'm not. Why? Why does that make it not true? Oh, that's where the elephant thing came from. Oh, that's from the new Mario Wonder that's coming out. Cool. I'm well cultured in the art of piracy. Yar. Finger flintlocks and a wink. We be pirates. I know nothing about files full of ROM games on my computers anywhere or any source of downloading them or copying them off other people's computers. No memories of this whatsoever to talk about. I'm not cute. Yes, you're cute. Maki, you're cute. We decided this. This was part of the decision made here. You were cute. Allstance is definitely cute and does not hide it. Denny, I'm pretty sure is cute. Hydrowolf, also cute. Mendy's cute. No question there. Said Hydrowolf. Denny, cute. Just met Serthas today, so I don't know if they're cute or not. And that's as far up as I can get. I'm not cute. I paid good money to be cute as I am. Oh, and Wild Fox, you're also cute. I didn't mean to miss you. Sorry, your name's Purple and you haven't talked in a bit. How dare? No dare. You're cute. You're a cute tiger monster. Yes, Maki, you are cute, and yes, Hydra, you're cute. Do you want because I'm do you want because pirate is free? Robin Rotten. Robbie Rotten. Neat. You're cute, and that cute hobkin with the cute feet beans. Oh. There is a feet beans redeem. You do know that. It's on the list. You can has feet beans if you want feet beans. I don't think these are that expensive. Beans. In there? I don't have a beans redeem? You're kidding me. What am I doing? What am I doing with my life? I am so sorry. Oh no. Well, let me see. There you go. Did that show up on screen? Oh, it's a little over. Up higher. There we go. I win. I need to make a beans redeem. I'll fix that after chat. Because I forgot. Apparently I didn't do that. Have you ever played Tomb Raider games? I played a couple of them. In the ancient times. Back when she looked like a stack of polygons. Can't believe there are no beans. I will fix that. I am so sorry. Mendy, that's cheating. I like cheating. You can have the other one. There you go. I got it on screen. My cute pink paw beams. That was pirated points right there. And you can have these ones too. These are easily free and don't require much effort to pop up. Yes, they were very pointy boos. Booba that were pointy. Cones. Funny thing is, the spear temple you hooked, you can hook shot into the statue's breast. Nice. What was your first Anthrocon like? I always wanted to go to one. All right. Way back in the year 2004, after having met some cranky old bald guy in 2003 in the Czech Republic to find out that this Anthrocon thing happened in my state, some Kage person that happened to have been guest of honor at the convention that I did go to first, found out about the Anthrocon thing in the state that I lived in at the time. 6-hour drive later, all the way to Philadelphia, I stayed in the Adams-Mark Hotel with like 6 people total in my hotel room. It was fun. I fursuited. I don't even remember how the dealer's room was. I went to some dances. I don't remember much of my first Anthrocon, to be honest. That was 19 years ago now. Current Anthrocon, way much more fun. Pittsburgh, great place to be at. They love us, and they all the food around town makes it so easy to enjoy yourself with a variety of places to be. And the city actually celebrates your showing up. So, very good reason to go to Anthrocon now. Paw beans. The magic of the Fridays and Denny's that all hated us. Yep. The Denny's next to the Adams-Mark in Philly hated the furries. I mean, they should have loved us because we came and brought them all the money, but we probably didn't tip very well because a lot of furries are dumb like that. I still remember some of my only AC I ever attended back in O Tree. Yeah, the last AC before I actually started going to them. I did next to nothing but sell, so it was a little dull. Yeah, that's part of the problem when you are when you're working a con. You barely have any time to actually enjoy a con. I did next. Yeah. That's always not fun for unless you're really enjoying your drawing. It feels like you sign up for hard mode, trying to art every moment of your weekend to try and make the most of your con time, and um, how difficult it was to make your fur suits. Well, I only made a few of the suits that I own. Most of them I have purchased, already made or made for me. I first learned from looking at a bunch of tutorial sites. I made a wire-based head frame the first time. That was interesting and a lot of hot glue, but I managed. They were scary looking. I don't show pictures of those anymore. I try to pretend they don't exist. My current fursuits that I've made have been a lot easier since I learned actual useful techniques, including carving foam and gluing onto balaclavas to make better, more comfortable fitting heads. Though I must say I'm nowhere near as good as any of the ones that I've had purchased that I've made. But I can at least say I've tried. And I don't hate my Moth or my Renamon. They're still really high on my things I like. But by far, some of my fursuits like Daisy or Mewtwo really do take a lot more of me, Bursty, Caddie, Pixie, Cherry, Susser. They do a lot more to make me feel special, and they're easier to work in. I had a lot of free time, but didn't really know anyone, and I was with Killjoy. Yeah, sorry. But hey, now you're attached to a cute little corgi that you can go to cons with and have more fun. So that's a plus. Did it cost a lot to make? I'm curious. I want to make or buy one. Okay, the cost to make is not super expensive. You're looking at least a few $100s worth of fur fabric. Plus any hardware you might need, like foam. That's been getting more expensive lately. You're easily going to drop a good bit on that. You can either make or purchase a balaclava for a base. They're only about $6 off at Amazon, so not that much. And thread's pretty cheap. Only a few dollars for a big old spool of that stuff. And if you don't have needles or pins, you may need to pick those up. But I mean, that's basic sewing tools you probably should have anyway as a normal human at this point. So you do have, you're easily looking to several $100s for making it easily. And the way that, unfortunately, the price of the fur fabric are going, depending on what you want to make yours out of, can be more and more expensive. Some fabric costs anywhere, the average stuff you're probably going to use can be anywhere from, say, $20 a yard upwards to $40 or $60 a yard for your fabrics. And you're going to need, probably, depending on your human size, I don't need to know every detail about your human body, anywhere near from 4 to 6 yards of fabric for everything put together, especially depending on if you have different colors in different places and you want to have a little extra for every place you're going to mess up, because you're going to mess up at least once or twice in the process of making it, because something's not going to cut right or going to cut the wrong direction. You're going to actually make 3 copies of the left side of your paw, and you're not going to have a right side. You know, something's going to go wrong. I know many goods now. Yay! Yes, you do. Not me though. You know fun people like Scrapper and Sunny and other people, Diesel, Noob, Javi, Swift, Solaria, other people. You know Fopsy too. They're good. All of them are absolute cuties. Aw, thank you. I appreciate you saying so, Maki. I think almost all of them have been on my YouTube channel at some point. If you want to go look at my fursuits in my YouTube channel, it should be in my description box below in my About Me section. It's one of my 5 linkos that goes to websites. I made it in time for the cutie pie. Really? Where? Where's the cutie pie? Oh, Captain Stouty. That's cutie pie. Done. Mindy, give me the X smiley. Commander needs to sell fur. Any new things you're looking forward to? Are you actually going to sell fur like fabric, or are you trying to like sell your hair? Depending on what you have, you might have a customer. Anything I'm looking forward to? Always. MFF. That's coming up in about 3.5 months-ish. Or is it 4 months? Somewhere, beginning of December. Don't have any fursuits I'm looking forward to purchasing or anything. I'm hoping to get some sewing done, though, make some more dresses for my costumes. I do tend to spend a lot of time sewing outfits for my fursuits. That I'm better at than making fursuits themselves. That tends to be my best artistic skill, is making dresses. So, hey, work with your strengths and have fun with them. That, and in the end, I end up with dresses, so that's also a plus. Hey, no, you. No. We discussed this already, Captain, as you came in. It is you. How does one make a cutie pie? What does it taste like? It tastes like sweet and delicious. And possibly marshmallows. If I recognize from one of my other cutie pies I like to watch on the Twitch during the day at work, that does help me keep my sanity while I'm stuck working extra hours. Free advertisement for Heartwood, because he's a sweetheart and does actually help me get through my workday almost every single day except Wednesdays. I've got like 6 bolts of fur in my attic. Oh my, seriously? Anything good? Any pinks? Do you have any pink? I take pinks and whites by far. I have lots of uses for both of those. Take lots of pictures of MFF. You might see something cool. Yes. Yes, I will. I am bad at taking pictures at cons anymore, though. I'll admit that. I'm like, I used to be, I'd go to a con and I would take my little camera pouch and I'd strap that on my belt and I'd make sure I had it with me at all times. Now, it's my phone is my best camera anyway. It's in my pocket 99.9% of the time. And I forget it's there when something cool comes up. And I forget, I was like, oh, you have a camera in your pocket. Stupid. Marshmallows. Yes, Heartwood is a marshmallow. And that's why cutie pies taste like marshmallows. Any advice for keeping from getting drained or from a con or expo? As in exhausted or poor? Exhausted, by all means. Remember to take breaks. Make yourself take breaks before you get too tired. Don't try and do everything in one day. Don't forget to eat. Dear God, I've made that mistake enough times. Don't forget to eat. Carry some food around with you at all times, if at all possible, as long as there's no rules against it. I tend to do trail mix and beef jerky with me at all times at a con. I get little single-use packs of those things and just carry those and a bottle of water. Candies are also good. Like Werther's Original is one of our faves to have with us because it actually has enough flavor and feels like something. But keep food with you. Don't forget to take breaks. Dear God, drink water, especially water. Caffeine's not a bad idea, though, too. White, black, gray, and red, orange. I have lots of use for whites. Just saying. Lots of use for whites. I will fur trim everything. Red, orange sounds fun, too. I might be able to find a use for that. Just saying. Can Anthrocon be expensive while you're there? Yes, by far. If you're splitting your hotel room, you're looking for probably a few $100s at least for your share of the con stay, even if you're just staying Thursday through Sunday. So look into that as a major expense. The actual convention fee is $50-ish. Spending money in the dealer's room, that could be anywhere from nothing to thousands upon thousands of dollars, depending on what you feel like buying. This year, even with buying a Kegu and several bits of art and some keychains, I think we got around 700-ish on spendies. And as of this weekend, I finally put frames on the 2 prints I picked up while I was there. Food, you're not going to go too broke if you play it smart, but you can easily spend a good bit on food. It depends on what you feel like eating and what you consider your standards on food. If you stay at one of the hotels that has some free food, you might even get away with a lot of that if you want to just save money. The Drury has free breakfast and dinner, so if you're staying there, you have two buffet meals covered, so that's an option. But in general, food can be as cheap as you make it. Spending, in general, as cheap as you decide to make it. You want to buy a fursuit while you're there, yeah, you're going to drop $4,000. You just want to buy some keychains of Renamon or something, I don't know, maybe $20. Depends on what your version of expenses are. Pudding-based pie, maybe a Neapolitan swirl of chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry pudding topped with diced strawberries, tiny marshmallows, charred and with a kitchen torch or under the oven. Benoy, why you make me want this pie that doesn't exist yet? Okay, you get in the bus, get your little cottontail over here, make that pie. I have a kitchen. I have ingredients. Do the thing. Pudding cups. Mental drain. Oh, that. Take breaks. 100% take breaks. Walk away from the convention during for a stretch of the time. Go back to your hotel room. Turn on the TV. Watch some cartoons. Try and relax and unpeople yourself if you get peopled out real easy. That is very important. Take time to not be around all the people. Yes, it's fun to be in the dealer's room or the dances or in gathering things or event bits, but yeah, take breaks. Actually go back to your hotel room and relax sometimes. It does help. If you have social anxiety type situations where that does affect you, take you time. Same thing I can say for a place like Disney World. Take you time. Go back to your hotel room. Take some breaks. You don't have to do everything in one day. Red orange does. Heck yeah. I have to get you some pile depth on that. Ooh. Commander, you are a good boy. Appreciate you. What are you? When are you going? Were you going to make a fox, Commander? I hope so. Okay. Well, I got a tail wag, and then I will keep reading. I see where I'm at. All right. Let's see. Zip. Camera, where'd you go? Camera, there you are. Where's my actual camera? All right. It was around there. I lost it. Perfect. All right. Fine. I'm at a good range now. I think I am. I think that's because I actually turned physically. Ah, there it is. It's behind me. Okay. Fine, stay there because I'll probably be facing that way soon. Perfect. That way I can actually see what I'm doing anyway. Tail waggies. I'm redeeming the tail waggies. There you go, kids. Free waggies. Well, I mean, someone paid for them. Waggy. And I hope you're staring at my swishy tail and not my cake. Because this is a redeem for my tail waggies, not from a bum. I hope that's enjoyed. All right. Oh, no, wrong button. I need this stick to turn me. All right, good. Get back there. And find my chair again, because I physically lost it. Oh. Okay, there's the bum part of the chair. I found the bum part of my chair. Do you know where the bum part of your chair is? It's where your bum goes. And I got tangled up. Professional, kids. Professional here. No, not that. Grab, hit. That. Thank you. Grabbing things you can't see. That's more fun, right? And reassociate myself in my seating position so that I'm not breaking any wires. Good enough. All right, bring chat back up. What didn't I lose? I did that back in 2000. Used to have an account with Monterey Mills with discounting. Nice. If you buy my bus ticket, I will gladly come and make a mess of your kitchen. Yay! I like this plan. The Fox Red was 3.5-inch pile. Ooh, that's some long pile there. That's some long pile. Have you met any famous, well-known furs? Lots of them. You met this Mendy person? They're pretty famous. Commander Kitsune, I think he's pretty famous. I'd say Allestance is famous. Denny's infamous. I met Wild Fox. He's famous. Maki's pretty cool. He's young. He'll be famous one day. We're going to the expo for 2 days on Sunday, and it's an hour drive, as I was told. Do you have a hotel room at least? Hopefully you have at least somewhere you can downtime while you're there. Get yourself out of the place. It must be nice discount to have. I agree. Monterey Mills, back when it was an easier to shop from directly company. Strawberry cream cake. Yes, Allstance, you're making everyone hungry. Feedsies. Waggies. Yes, I hope you enjoyed your Waggies. It's our first time going to expos, so we know the mental drain will hit us hard. We will take pics for it. Yay! I'm assuming Agile already ended before I even got down to there. Wild Fox, you are famous. Infamous, right. Nope, we're not staying for long at the expo, 3 to 4 hours. That's probably for the best, honestly. Get in, have some fun, but get out and go get you some food. Do something outside of the convention space. As long as you have like in-out privileges, no one says it's a bad idea to go into the convention center itself, or wherever it is, have some fun, and then go out of the convention area. Find a place where you can get a good slice. You're in New York. It's going to be New York, wasn't it? Get yourself a good slice pizza. Or anything from a bodega. Oh. Might go to the Roosevelt Mall near the expo. Nice. I hope you have a good time. I really do. I sincerely do actually hope you have a good time. I haven't been to any non-furry convention type things in ages. So I hope it is fun for you. It's the Long Island Retro Gaming Expo. Ooh, well, and yeah, that's definitely so that's out in Seattle, Washington, right? No, I'm kidding. I that's New York. Yeah. I'm being difficult. I learned that from my Flopsy Woo. Well, you probably won't see as many fursuiters at a retro gaming expo, but you might see a couple Sanics or other people cosplaying video game heroes, so I'm good. No, I'm naughty. Have you grown up with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? I remember when they were new. I remember when they were first just a set of 3 VHS tapes before they had the show was on TV regularly. So yes, I had lots of Ninja Turtle toys, and I believe those are still in one of the rooms of my parents' house. If they do still exist, I'm probably gonna preserve those because they were fun. I had lots of turtles. The new movie was ooh, it's out already? Really? I don't get to see things like that until they hit disc, so I'm going to find out when I get it. I mean, I just got to watch the new Guardians of the Galaxy because that just came on Disco like this last week, so oh, the second. Wow, yeah, that was like yesterday ago about. I never make it to movies in the first week, let alone when they're in theaters anymore. The only ones I get to go see, the last few things I got to see were either a Star Wars or an Avengers, just because I made sure I would not get someone spoilersing them for me. I seen GOG3 with Wolfie. Oh, neat. Neat. Have you ever dealt with bullies or trolls because of being a fur? Sure. But I don't feed them, so they go away. Saw it on opening night. Well, you are crazy like that. Disney's tanking them hard. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. You are far more hardcore than me, Mendy. I don't quite do opening night on movies. The crowded theaters alone really flirp me, so it's hard for me to deal with it whenever it's opening night level crowds. The new Snow White is a sad thing to witness. I have not watched that yet, so I probably won't. It was much later in the night, and only a couple of other people. Well, that's good. That's much better. Some of the last few movies I remember seeing in theaters. I remember when I saw Zootopia in the theater. There was us and another couple, and they turned out to be another couple that were furries. So it was just 4 furries in a otherwise empty movie theater. Have you seen the new Five Nights at Freddy's? Nope. And I probably won't, because I actually don't like Five Nights at Freddy's. That's not something I enjoy. Jump scary type games like that don't do it for me, and I don't need a movie made out of it. Not my game. Sorry for using woke, but the Snow White movie will be woke AF. Well, as long as you're not using it too derogatorily. Snow White was never really one of my favorites. Also, it's more of a product of its time. Like, if you think about it, it's kind of a creepy story in a lot of ways, more than it's a happy story. Because Snow White be like 12, and she doesn't know the prince who wakes her up, and they're just like going to get married because he kisses her. This is not a relationship. This is not a good idea. The whole concept of that was bad. That's bad touch. At least Cinderella went and, met the prince. She had an idea. She wanted to date him. She thought he looked, hunkalicious. Oh, God, that paints a different light in story now. Yeah, you didn't think about that? This 12-year-old girl who ends up, chilling at the house with 7 old men and then gets put to sleep by the queen and gets woke up by a prince. Yeah, that's creepy. Disney's making a live-action Robin Hood movie like the Lion King. Why? If they do it Zootopia-esque and or they at least keep some of the humor, fine. At least those characters are anthropomorphic. What are we going to have, a fox just running around on all fours? They better be at least okay. Don't mess things up. Robin Hood is a masterpiece. That is literally one of the animated movies I would consider truly an art form. That is very much an artistic expression of the Robin Hood story in animal form, and I can be 100% behind that. The original Lion King, not the new 3D animated variant they call real life. That was an art piece. Maid Marian, hot AF. Don't mess this up, Disney. You don't you dare mess up Maid Marian. She better be same level of hot AF that creates even more furries. Yeah. Obviously, I was not a fan of the Lion King remake, and I am very much a Lion King fan, if you can tell by my icon. Toy Story is on my top 5 favorite Disney movies of all time. I'll be honest, Toy Story, okay, unpopular opinion. I didn't care for it. I didn't care for it. But they will put Pinocchio for the Robin Hood remake. Oh, I hope not. I hope not. I will say one of the remakes I liked because I felt like it retold the story in a different way. And I feel like the characters that played the characters did a good job of playing it in a different way. And that will be Aladdin. Yes, it was again the genie effectively telling you the story, but I actually felt the Will Smith genie, though not quite as good as the Robin Williams genie, was still a really good character. He played him as himself, not trying to be the Robin Williams genie. Um, we were having live action of people mostly. Any of the creatures were, oh, thank you, hither, hi there, Bor 12. Hi there, Bor 12. Hi there, Bor 12. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for the follow. I really appreciate it. I'm mostly just babbling here and talking to all of you cutie pies, so please come and enjoy the fun. Fun fact, Wheezy is a Tux, the Penguin reference. Linux was used for the Toy Story 2. Neat. Neat. Well, that's actually kind of cool. Then again, my reference to the name Wheezy does not come from that movie. Wheezy was from the Jeffersons. That was the wife, Wheezy. She was awesome. Robin Hood Williams Genie was still funny. Oh, I'm not saying he wasn't funny. My God, that was another one of those. That movie in itself was an art form. The Aladdin was good. I'm not saying the remake was better. I'm just saying that it was actually an okay movie. In fact, I think they're both really good ways to tell this particular story. They both had good actors. They really put the story front. They played it well. I feel both occurrences really worked. I'm just happy that the remake wasn't poot. They goofed up by using rm-rtf command and formatted the hard drive. However, it was backed up. Linux for the win. I'm guessing that's a Linux code joke. I don't have much experience with Linux, I'll be honest. I had like a 3-week quick course in Linux in college back in 2000. I'm coming to join you. Yay! I prefer the original Lion King over the remake. Oh yes, the remake Lion King was horrible. That was the expressionless animals unit. Sanford and Son reference. I love Sanford and Son too. That was a good show. Never use RNRF. It formats everything. It's recursive. Oh. And the other thing I've done with Linux was actually recent. One of my laptops I got for free with points from work, it was running Windows 10, but it needed an update. And the hard drive on it was too small to both have Windows on it and install the update at the same time. I wasn't able to use an SD card or an external hard drive or a USB stick to cover the need for the additional hard drive space. So I could never, it was just basically chugging because it was constantly wanting to do this update it couldn't do. So I think it was Commander Kitsune actually that recommended the Mint OS version of Linux for it, and I don't use it for much of anything because it's not exactly my newest laptop, but it runs fine. It does a good job. It actually was a stable OS. I have nothing against Linux. I just like Windows a little better normally, and I can live in both lands. So, you know. They're making a Lion King live action called Mufasa. Why? Disney Plus is losing $1.5 billion. Ugh. Ugh. Disney Plus. Don't lose money. I like you. I actually enjoy you as a service. I watch a lot of things over and over again on you. Currently rewatching a bunch of the Marvel stuff because it makes me happy. Dual booting is a good idea for Linux and Windows. I can feel you. I definitely can. I haven't done dual booting in a long time. Back on my Dell Pentium 3 in the early 2000s. What's the last time I've been to Disney? Well, that's a bit of a special moment. All streaming services are losing the war. Yeah. That was probably Aerofox. Oh, it was one of you fluffs. I can't remember who. But yay. It did work, though, so whoever told me to do it, the blue laptop lives due to that. And is somewhat useful. The last time I was at Disney was January into February of the year 2020. I got back from Disney about a month and a half before the world locked down, just before my birthday. Specifically, my birthday was the weekend. We were going to go out for dinner for my birthday the weekend the world basically shut down in March. I think movie theaters are going out of business because streaming services. You see, that's the fun trick. Less and less people were wanting to go to movies before the pandemic really happened, and now there's less drive to go to a gathering place when we all figured out that 3 months later, the movie's going to be on disc, and if not at the same time it's on disc, within a month or two, it's on your favorite streaming service that you're paying for, so it's harder to want to go to the theaters. I apologize to anyone that runs theaters, but I didn't like going to the theaters in general because, you know that big screen up there? That doesn't have a pause button. Also, there's 50 other people in the room with you trying to watch this movie, and one of them brought a baby, and that other guy's coughing a lot, and this one's going to walk in front of you during that really important part. And you have to pee the moment something fun's going to happen, and that pause button still doesn't work. So, I couldn't. And the cost of 2 tickets for the 2 of us to go see a movie is usually right around the cost to buy the movie on Blu-ray 3 months later. And I can watch it as many times as I want in my living room, in my really comfy couch, on my 4K TV, with my surround sound, and be happy. And pause when I need to go pee. And eat popcorn that doesn't cost me $20 for a bucket. Or eat something that isn't popcorn. Like popcorn chicken, which isn't actually popcorn. It's chicken, but it calls itself popcorn. It's way more fun than actual popcorn. That was a rant of mine. I apologize. When I went to Disney World, I did Hidden Mickey Hunt. Eons ago, our record is 13. I never actually tried, but I know I found a lot of them. My first time going to Disney was in 2019. I don't remember. Let's see. It was 13 years ago I went to Disney for the first time. So that would be 2010. 2010 was my first time ever going to Disney World. That was fun. Back when Fast Passes were a paper thing. I remember having to go up to the kiosk, scanning my little card and getting a Fast Pass out. I remember some group of people coming back and they're like, we got Fast Pass for this that's about to go up, but we're having to leave for dinner. You can have them. They just hand us the little papers and we were able to go on a ride quick. It was kind of cool. The Mario movie was a blast when I watched it on my Xbox. Nice. We picked it up on disc as soon as it came out, and we watched it in our comfortable chairs. It was really fun. I could pause when I had to go pee. Again, pause, pee. Very important functions. I mean, it's the experience, but theaters are a dying breed. I never even really liked the experience of the experience. I actually felt it was negative experience to the actual movie watching process. And since my TV is really good now, I have several of them, it's more comfortable to watch them here and experience in a good way. It's been a long while since I was last at Disney. It was a decent time, but it had its share of drama. Long story. Um, I also we were hoping to go to Disney this coming January-ish, maybe, but due to the tree incident, we're going to hold that off till the following year. We were also holding off for the meal plan to come back, but decided we're going to go against the meal plan this time and just actually accept the cost of the food because one of us eats like a pigeon, and there's no point in paying effectively the cost for a 3-course filet mignon dinner when you only are able to eat the main course. You're forced to buy an appetizer and a dessert and blah, blah, blah. And it adds up quick. And if you're not eating all that, it just feels like you're throwing food away for nothing. It's a thing. We do have Javi's Basement. We can always go there and watch movies in, well, I think it's 7.1 surround sound he has down there. Lots of speakers. I think he does have the 2 subwoofers at this point. It's a lot of speakers and a 70-inch TV and reclining leather chairs. It's really comfy. What streaming services do you watch on? We have what is now Max. Used to be HBO Max. We have Disney Plus. We get Hulu free with our cell phones, so we have that. And we are currently have Netflix, but we are probably going to ditch that whenever some series that Fopsy Woo is watching gets over. Because most of the stuff I used to watch on Netflix either disappeared or moved to other services like Disney Plus or HBO or Max. So that's where we like to live TV-wise. First time I was in Disney World was... You know what happened in 1977 for me? I wasn't yet. Also, I was 29 when I first went to Disney World, so I didn't get to experience it as a kid, but I sure felt like one when I got there. Videopolis nightclub was hugely controlled, controversial for Disney and the LGBTQ community. Defunctland did a good history video about it and Peacock for streaming too. We thought about that one, but at the moment, we're kind of at our budget limit and our time limit. We have lots of stuff on our palette right now that we like to watch. So, for now, we're holding on what we have. Wow, 85 there, Mindy. That was forever ago. I would love to have gone when I was that old. Did you go trick-or-treating in my fursuit? No, I was already in my 20s when I first made a fursuit, so I was not the trick-or-treater, but I always pass out treats in fursuit every year at Halloween. We usually have a group of us together that do it as a whole. So, yes, it is fun to pass out treats in fursuit. It is a hoot to see the reactions of both the parents and the children when they see well-made professional costumes who hand them fistfuls of the good stuff, like mini Snickers bars and Reese cups and stuff. Not only do we go all out on the costume, we go all out on the candy. I do think 2010 was the last time I was at Disney. Can't remember for sure. Probably was 2011 because I think it was the year after that I went the first time there wild. I'm not sure, though. I'm not you, and I don't keep track of everything. The Office, the only reason why Netflix is bleeding dry. Yeah. Netflix doesn't do a good job of keeping things up. They should. Every series they tried to start that they stopped always made me sad. So rest in peace. The puppet one. We used to be Jim Henson puppets. Dark Crystal. That series deserved more time than it had. I felt bad that it got cut so soon. We recently made a Plex server. All the stuff is on it. It's totally above board. Smart. I love all of our free streaming services as well, not just the ones we pay for, like Pluto, and a few other ones that are on our list. We don't watch as much of them, but they're there and they're free. So in case you're stuck, always got stuff to do. Would I prefer Pokemon or Digimon? Digimon. But I do like Pokemon as well, because they're both awesome. Mewtwo is like, bae, and I do have 2 Digimon fursuits, so that's also a thing. Renamon and Guilmon. And I see a Hydrate. Also, hi Raven, welcome to the stream. I'm apparently dehydrated, and I'm being told this. And I can't... Water, where did you go? I'm facing the wrong way. Oh, what am I hitting? Not that. There it is. There it is. Got it. Whew. I rotate at some point. Water. Desk. There you are. Hold water. Hi, Raven. Welcome to the stream. I've been babbling. I'm good at that. Netflix is just making one bad choice after another. I completely agree. Netflix used to be the bee's knees, and they had everything on it, and now there are other things, and people are moving away from them as far as services and shows that we like to watch. So, unfortunately, they're not all that in a bag of potato chips anymore. Who got me into Digimon? Digimon got me into Digimon. I was a kid when they came out. I was watching them on Saturday mornings on Fox Kids. So I've been into Digimon since it was originally a thing in the United States. One Piece live action is coming to Netflix. No bueno on live action. Well, it couldn't be the worst thing that's turned into live action. Lion King. It did, but the Skeksis' tongues were CGI and were living their own life, and it was so distracting. Okay, yeah, I can see that. I can feel you there. But they had such a story to tell. I wish we got more of it. The world seemed so cool. It seemed like it had more to tell us, but sad. Luffy stretching would be a nightmare in CGI. Could be. Hard to say, though, until you see stuff actually be done. Sometimes CGI does surprise you. One of the first CGI person replaces I ever saw, I've had enough people tell me they actually didn't realize it was a CGI person until after. And that would have been Grand Moff Tarkin, a.k.a. Peter Cushing, in, I think it was Rogue One? Or was that... I'm pretty sure the end of Episode 3 was CGI, but that was like a hard hit point. They like barely passed by him. But we had a full CGI Peter Cushing for a few scenes in Rogue One, definitely Rogue One, now I'm remembering. And I had people that watched it and actually didn't know he was dead and were surprised when I told them that guy wasn't really there, and he was an old man back in 1977 whenever the first Star Wars came out. Death Note suffered on Netflix. I never watched Death Note, so I wouldn't know, but I apologize that it died too. Have you ever played Digimon games? Last one I played was on PS4, Digimon Next World Order and Digimon Cyber Silhouette. Digimon games. Okay, I started playing Digimon games that were PS1. Digimon World 3 was the first one I really played. I also had picked up 1 and 2, but they were all completely different games. So it wasn't like you were in the same control scheme whatsoever. 3 I really got into, beat all the way through. Definitely played Cyber Sleuth and the second part of Cyber Sleuth, whatever it was called. Cyber Sleuth, the new Cyber Sleuthig. We never finished the second one, but I believe we finished the first one. And then we bought it again on the Switch, and I don't think either of us has touched it since we bought the double pack copy on Switch because, that's how things work. Same reason I have like 5 copies of Lego City Undercover, and I've played one of them all the way through and unlocked nearly everything. And one of them I played for about 2 missions and then go, yeah, I already played this once. Cyber Sleuth was awesome, though. I loved that world and the controls on that. That was a great game. We did get the Next World Order. It's in the living room on the shelf, and that's all that's ever happened with it. Never had time. The Flash did a bad move with bringing Superman back from the dead. If you're talking about the Justice League movies, yeah, they were okay. They weren't bad. I didn't hate them, but I didn't. Superman versus Batman was kind of dumb. I liked the TV series of The Flash and Arrow and Supergirl and Batwoman and all those in the Arrowverse. Those were fun. Currently, Doom Patrol and Titans. I think Titans ended technically. I think we're still due half a season at least to Doom Patrol, hopefully more. Those are fun. It was Digimon Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory. That's what it was. And yes, that was also fun. The Cyber Sleuth games were actually really good. I love the control. I love the way you did things in those ones. I love the combat. All in all, it was a good experience. Those were fun. They actually remind me a lot of Digimon World 3, which was nowhere near that fancy looking. It was basic isometric sprites for the most part walking around in a world, and Digimon were more like Final Fantasy type combat RPG battles. Basically, the game zoops out and you're all of a sudden in a combat. Fun. Still fun. Both fun games. I wish there was a Tamagotchi game that wasn't a device. Yeah. The Flash was a movie. Oh, that's right. They were making a Flash movie. I'll see that when it comes on a disc. Don't spoil it for me. If it ain't on disc yet, I haven't seen it. It bombed hard. Probably did. I'm not surprised. Have you watched Batman the Animated Series and Superman the Animated Series? Yes and yes. I was a teenager when the first one of those came out, so I watched that when it was on Tube, initially, over the air. And I have recently, again, watched through all of those again, plus Justice League Unlimited, Batman Beyond. Basically, if it was animated and a superhero in the 90s through early 2000s, I've probably watched it. There are 2 comic booky series that I was waiting for to come out on some streaming services. Phantom 2020 I just, the art style in that and the story plot was amazing. And I missed it half the time because where I was, it often got interrupted by sporting events. So it was sometimes hard to follow. That one needs to exist. And the Zeta Project, which is a DC Universe product. I don't know why it's not on Max because they have everything else, and including some really old garbage. I don't know why they don't have that. Um, the Batman villain of Joker was your favorite? Yes. Mark Hamill Joker was a very lovely Joker. He was, as far as Joker personalities go, he's probably one of the absolute greatest ever. And for all of those of you who did not realize that, yes, Luke Skywalker was the animated Batman Joker. I know, like, most people know that. I'm sure there's at least somebody out there that didn't know that. I think that's amazing because he does such a good job of it. He even kind of reprised the role in the Flash TV series. Oop, bing. Something bing. Is it a good bing? It'll pop up on my screen here in a second. Bing. Oh, this one is not greening. Hello, this one is not greening. Welcome to my stream. We are just babbling back and forth with all of you. I hope you enjoy. I should have for now. Have a great stream. Thank you, Mendy. Thank you for hanging out with me and enjoying my babbling. Hope you have a great night. Hug the corgi ba and pet all the puppies for me, okay? And the kitties. Especially Dorian. I miss him. He's a good boy. You can pet Suddy too. That's also fine. But yeah, Mark Hamill kind of reprised his role of the Joker in the Flash TV series. He played the trickster, and he played him with the Joker voice and the Joker attitude to some extent. It was amazing seeing a live action Mark Hamill Joker-esque character. That was beautiful. If you haven't seen that yet, by all means, watch the Flash TV series. Not done by the same actor that did the Flash movie. So if you had any issues with that part of the situation with the Flash movie, this isn't there. Loved the Flash TV series. It was the first of the Arrowverse that I got into, and I'm really happy about that. But yeah, Joker's great. Joker has always been a good villain, except for a couple instances of him, specifically out of the first of the Suicide Squad. That was a horrible Joker. And I don't remember which Batman series that he had dreadlocks and looked like a growling monster. I didn't much care for that one either. But otherwise, Joker's always been a good villain. Every different iteration of him, all the way back to Adam West Batman, live action from the long befores. That Joker was amazing all the way through to our most current Jokers, except for that one that was horrible. Birds of Prey was amazing. The fact that we specifically had we're just not going to have the Joker. Nope. Just no. Just no. No Joker. No. Oh, and out of the, it was the Joker movie where we had the origin story for the Joker. In that, at least that version of the origin story, because so many different ways we've had a different origin story for him. That origin, oh my. It was a head trip going through that. When I first realized that you weren't watching a movie as much as you were watching everyone's different perspective at the same time, and things just, it blew my mind. At first I was like, wow, that was amazing. I loved that. And it really, really showed a descent into madness that you kind of felt for him and you wanted him to get his revenge on all this stuff. Mark Hamill was my favorite Joker, then Heath Ledger, then Jack Nicholson. All of which are really good choices, mind you. All are great choices. Great Jokers. I like them all for their own reasons, so I can't pick just one. And some of the Jokers out of the more recent animated DC Universe one-offs and whatnot films have been really good too. Even the very, very short used Joker from Young Justice. I loved him just because he just flat out got pissed off at Lex Luthor for keeping him out of the loop completely. It's not that he was, mad that he was used and abused. He was just mad he didn't get told about it. He didn't like not being on the joke. But all the ones from all the animated one-offs and whatnot, most of those have been really good and very Mark Hamill-esque. I think the one from the Red Hood was also a very, very good variant on the Joker. He was very Mark Hamill. You could really feel it right from the get-go when he's basically almost beats Robin to death. And then near the mid-end, whenever he asks for a glass of water, and he's like, I'll need some guys, but not these guys, because they're kind of dead. Young Justice had like 4 or 5 seasons. I can't remember how many at this point, but it was a fun series. There needs to keep being more of that. Sorry about that follow. I am testing things in this, not greening, just testing. Sorry. Oh, that's okay. You're welcome to follow, though. I don't mind. I don't mind being your test. Enjoy. I hope I've been a good test. Mark Hamill has stepped down being Joker because of the passing of Kevin Conroy. Yeah, that's definitely sad. He was the Batman for the longest time. His voice just is Batman. There's no turning away from that. And poor Mark Hamill is definitely not a young puppy anymore. So I'm going to be sad when we lose him, because he's been an important part of a lot of my childhood, both animated and real life action peoples. So very important human and very important actor. We already lost. We already lost Princess Leia. We don't need to lose Luke Skywalker. Kevin Conroy is the best Batman. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. He probably was the best Batman. There have been a lot of good Batmans, mind you. There have been a lot of good Batmans in different ways for different reasons. But he probably was the best Batman. I don't think anybody can quite do as good as him. But there are other Batmans out there that are filling in the shoes and helping us have another Batsmans in our lives as time goes by. We'll never be Batmanless. Someone else will always have a good, dark, gritty voice to give Brucey a speaking space. And no is the other account, so I see what happened. So I see what would happen with my accounts, but you're a great streamer, and sorry. Don't be sorry. Well, please, welcome. You're allowed to be here, whether it's just to be testing or to hang out. I'm good all the ways. If you do feel like coming back and watching any time with one of your accounts, by all means, come and hang out. I'm here every Monday and Wednesday. Especially if you play the Batman Arkham Asylum series. Oh, yeah. Fopsy will play that, and I loved watching the game be played. Oh, you're welcome, Greening. Come back anytime. I'm here for you. I'm here to chat and play silly games. Fopsy Woo played Arkham Asylum when it was pretty new. It came in a bundle with our PS3 when we picked that up on a Black Friday special. We had that, Infamous, and a copy of The Dark Knight. So that was actually a really good bundle. And the PS3 still exists, and it's right here, I think. I'm not sure if I'm pointing the right way, but it's in the room with me, plugged into this TV. It's the Blu-ray player in this room. Have you ever seen the live-action Batman movies? If yes, what's your favorite? All of them. Every single one. I actually believe I saw the 1990s first Batman in theaters when it came out. I even have seen the Adam West one from a billion years ago. As far as my favorite, that is a really, really hard question because there are a lot of good and bad parts to most of them. As far as just Batman movies and not Batman and somebody else, like Batman versus Superman or something, or Justice League or whatnot, I would probably stick with The Dark Knight. Ironically, it's never Batman that sells me in a Batman movie. It's always the villains. And as far as live action movies with Batman, I gotta say Heath Ledger really did. He stole the show, and he did a great job of being a crazy man, and it worked really well for me. The whole movie in general watches well. I could watch it again at any time. Whereas sometimes, like Batman Begins, kind of hard to watch again, you know. And the four from the 90s, Batman Returns, Batman and Robin, and Batman Forever. I think those are the names of all those ones. Those are fun and kind of campy, but they're not. They have a lot. They have too many either over cheese moments or weird parts that just kind of throw me now that I can't just enjoy sitting down watching over and over again. Whereas Dark Knight, I feel like it's a train ride from the beginning to the end, and even when it hits high points, they're even higher than the high points of any of the other ones put together. So Batman Forever on SNES is a colossal nightmare. I have heard most of the Batman games on the 2D platformers were not really that fun. They were chaos. But I may have played the one on the NES a little bit because that was back in the day when you borrowed and traded games with friends a lot and rented games a lot. So I probably played it just out of curiosity, but I don't remember if I played or not, or if I just looked at it in Nintendo Power and watched people play it on the internet at this point. So I can't be sure. But, I can't complain. Have you seen the live-action Sonic movies and Detective Pikachu? Heck yeah, I have. I actually really like the Sonic movies. They were really fun. They were way funner than I expected them to be. I was expecting the story plots to be dull and boring, but I really got into both Sonic movies. I felt the characters were really fun. The story was fun. Overall, everything was. I definitely give those a go. And Detective Pikachu, that in itself, that is how I like to do a Pokemon movie if you were going to do real life. Because you weren't just sitting there talking about Pokemon or just watching two Pokemon fight. Pokemon were just there. And it was fun. It was a world you kind of want to be in. I liked it. That and Mewtwo was awesome, so that's a really big plus. As a big Mewtwo fan, actually, my Mewtwo suit was based on the one from Pokken Tournament. According to the maker. It was made long before Detective Pikachu was out. I've had that suit since 6 years ago. And the maker had him for a couple years before that. So yeah, it was based on Pokken Tournament's scary Mewtwo. Hence why he's kind of creepy. If you look on my histories in here, he's the Mewtwo I wear on every other weekend gaming. And I have plenty of videos of him in my YouTube as well. Yeah, so there's a playlist in my YouTube if you want to just watch more of just him specifically. The references to Dialga and Palika were cool in the movie. All of the references in that movie were so cool. If you're a Pokemon nerd at all, it hits so good. I played Pokemon since Red and Blue. So I had a lot of history with Pokemon. So I had a lot going in with me. A lot of baggage, and they fulfilled my baggage quite well. Every Pokemon that was on screen felt cool. I don't think I was mad at any one of them's design. In fact, stuff they did was like, oh, that's even better than I would have thought to make that happen. The way they did the Charizard was beautiful. Mewtwo was lovely. I was just, yeah. I watched some of your storytime videos on your YouTube channel while I chill and relax. Aw, thank you. I appreciate the fact that you watch my story videos. I always have fun making those. I love sitting here talking to cameras. I need to make more. I'd make more of those, but Storytime turned into this, which are now epic, going on sometimes more than 3 hour long me chatting videos. The Mr. Mime was funny. Yes, it was. I loved that. That was a beautiful, beautiful use of Mr. Mime. Because he's kind of a joke character of himself, and using him to his fullest extent was beautiful. That was perfect. Another good, almost nearly momentary but funny moment was the Snubble. Just sitting there just looking pissed off. Just sitting there being pissed off looking. It's just like, yep, that's what Snubble would do. Sit there and be a pissed off little thing. Would you play co-op games with friends? With fans? Probably. But I'm bad at scheduling time to play games with other people when they're available, so that's the only reason I don't do it as much. That and I do less co-op anymore due to my infrequency of wanting to play games. I don't want to hold everybody up, and I don't necessarily sit there and want to play for 4 hours or 5 hours straight. And I know most of my friends that like to play co-op games just like to go and go and go and go, and it's like 8 hours later, and at most they've gotten up to take pee breaks every so often. I'm like, I can't do that. I don't have the mental time for that. I have a lot of other hobbies that take up time, like sewing and Legos and watching TV. Well, not regular TV, obviously. We haven't had regular TV service in decades at this point. I think you're an awesome person to play games. Aw, thank you. You play with. I kind of figured. I'm fun. I like to play games, obviously, but I don't play them as much anymore. I wish I did. I honestly do. It's funny. I played so much video game stuff up until and including through college. But when I got my first job and finally had real money that I could buy games, one of the first things I got was a PS2. Mentioned that earlier in this stream for any of you that were here. And I bought all the Spyro games that day. I bought like 3 other PS2 games that same day. And I kept buying games. But at the time, I was working a 12-hour night shift job, 3/4 days a week, depending on which week you were on. It just cycled because it was 3 days this week and 4 days the next, because that's how shifts work when you're shifting everything. I rarely had the time or the energy to play much of those games, and I felt bad that I bought all these games, and there are still PS2 games on my shelf behind me that I bought during that time, and at best got taken out of their plastic. Never even put it in my system. One of my me's is having a strange dream in Tamagotchi life. They're a snail. Hey, Ford, do you ever feel like you're a couch? I know what you mean. Anyone that gets that reference, you get points. Do you play Lego games solo or co-op? Well, the last time I played any of the Lego games that had co-op, it was only local co-op was an option anyway. That was back during the PS2/GameCube/ early Wii days. So we played the first Star Wars Lego games local co-op. And Lego City Undercover, I don't believe has a co-op. I really wish that one did, because that one's got a heck of a great story and really feels way more Lego than any of the other kind of Lego games. And never did Dimensions. So we bought the Dimensions starter kit, and I have a couple of booster packs that Mom got on clearance just because they were Lego Mans. But never played it, never actually got it out of the box. We physically got it just before we moved out of Pennsylvania, and I wanted to make sure I didn't lose parts from it, so we just never put it together, and still never put it together. Remember when I worked for McDonald's before going to the 10th grade? I saved up for a PSP 3001, lost my job due to knee injury in 2010. Aw, I'm so sorry. That sucks. But at least you saved up for the PSP. The funny thing is, we kind of wanted PSPs for not to play PSP games, but because we heard they were really good for turning to emulation machines, and thought that'd be really cool to take with you. Do you play Minecraft? No, I do not, but my sister loves it. My sister is a Minecraft daily, okay? So, if I ever wanted to see Minecraft, I can just go hang out at her house. She would play it all the time for us. She's part of a guild. She collects things. She makes plants and whatever. I'm not entirely sure. The homebrew scene kind of dried up on the PSP. Yeah. Well, I wasn't really as much worried about the homebrew specifically, as long as the ability to play ROMs from, say, the 16-bit era and back were able to be easily put on there. I certainly wouldn't mind carrying around effectively a portable all of Super Nintendo, Genesis, Nintendo, Atari, um, Master System, etc. And they made Halo game for Homebrew. That is neat. Do you have pets? Not anymore. I grew up with cats. I'm very allergic to cats. We had cats from the time I was born until the time I left my parents' house. I sneezed a lot. My parents had two choices: deal with my allergies or buy more facial tissues. They bought more facial tissues. Yeah. I specifically had a cat named Bursty. That's where my Purple Linus was based on. So if you ever see my Purple Linus fursuit, she was based off my actual kitty. That was my kitty out of all the kitties. I did have ferrets for a while when I lived in York. Found out I'm allergic to them too. Goody. But yeah, no pets right now because I'm allergic to most things, and I think fish are boring. I don't feel like dealing with lizards. They're too much work. I do cats, but I like breathing. Same with dogs. I have my limits. Animal Crossing is a good game on Switch if you played it. Animal Crossing is a good game on GameCube and on all of their systems. I think we have all of the different Animal Crossings at this point. 2 copies of several of them. Played plenty of that. I get bored pretty quick, mostly because I feel like I'm doing chores, and I have enough of those in real life. And it doesn't feel like game as much as it feels like actual chores, and I get bored of that real quick. Fopsy Woo, however, plays usually several months longer than I do on one of those and really enjoys herself, so that's a thing. So we tend to keep buying them. The homebrew games are fun, but it's emulators that do the best. Absolutely, that's what I was looking at on for a PSP if we were getting one. Totally want to just use it to emulate games. That's it. No question. No buts about it. That's totally my plan if I got one. New Horizons is good, but it felt like it lacked some basics things on Switch. I never even started playing it, honestly. Fopsy Woo played it. I think I started because Fopsy Woo had everything basically going on it. But since I was not the god of the island, it was not fun because I was just like, well, you can go pick the apples. Yep. Fossils are all dug up for the day or whatever, and all the fun's done, and I'm already dealing with how we make the town look, so you can just decorate your house. Yeah, I got bored real quick. Sphinx is a good pet if you're okay with hairless and spend a lot of... Yeah, see, that's the thing. We both would rather have a fluffy cat. I looked into Sphinxes when I was a teenager because not only did I think they look cool, but I may be able to breathe, but they are a high maintenance cat and they're not fluffy, and cat is better than dog in the sense that we do like to take trips to conventions, and you leave a cat with a clean litter box and a bowl full of food and a big thing of water, it's fine for a week. You leave a dog like that for a day and it, drives itself crazy and eats all the food, drinks all the water or knocks it over, and then you come back to a sad dog at best. Animal Crossing on the Switch is the only one I ever played. It was fun for as long as I played. I can definitely understand that. Those kind of games can be fun till you get through everything you want to do on them, and then it's like, and now what? New Leaf is the one, the pre-order in 3DS. That one I know we have 2 copies of because I had all intentions of playing it, and I didn't much. Reason I want a Sphinx is because Beirut and Champa. I wanted one long before those characters were a glimmer in the anime artist's eyes back in the 90s. So I thought they looked cool. My sister was a cat person in general, so she had books about cats and things, and we talked about the one kitty I thought looked passable and I could breathe around, which just means we still got more strays and adopted them, and they were always pregnant, and then we had more babies. That's usually what happened. My sister would adopt a cat, bring it in the house, surprise, it's a girl cat and it's preggers. Now you got kittens. Bursty was one of those kittens. She was one of Trixie's litter of 5. I got to keep her. And she was a good girl. She knew she was mine. She knew my bedroom was hers. She knew I would protect her, and she protected my room. NES Remix on the 3DS was fun too. Oh, heck yeah. The NES Remix games were amazing. I know we got those. I don't remember if we got them on the 3DS or one of the Wiis. I think it was a Wii. And we played the heck out of that. That was fun diddly on. Got a lot of hours on that game, surprisingly. And that was during a time when I wasn't getting as much gaming in. If I don't have it on the 3DS or the DS or the SS, the CSS, or the BBS, whatever portable variants they came on, I might have to fix that. NES Remix was just a beautiful concept, and it was fun. Nintendo Online had the classic NES and SNES on the Switch. Nice. I don't really want to pay for the service to have those kind of games normally. I tend to buy stuff, not want to buy the right to use it for nowsies. But I do have the mini NES and SNES on the counter in this room, in the dining room, aka computer room in our house. Along with the both mini Genesises, Mark 1 and Mark 2. At least one of the At Games variant ones of those two. And some other fun stuff. My N64 is on that shelf set too. I have a lot of video games. I have not as many as Mendy does, but I do have a lot. Online is $20, but for the N64 it's $50. Yeah. I know it's $20 a year, but still, it's like $20. It's still $20. And anything I'm paying continuously for that I don't get to keep, I don't like as much. Even when you'd buy stuff off like the eShop and you would then, as long as you still had it downloaded onto your WhatsApp, you had a copy of it. I liked that. Plus, the years go by too fast as well. Yes, that's the problem. I'm not the only one of my friends that really says, I just turned around and it wasn't January anymore. And it's now August. I'm like, yeah, that's how it goes. That $20 year is going to go by so fast. I got a lot of other things I'd spend that $20 on, like pretty dress wares and accessories or Legos. You know what? Legos don't require DLC. Well, I mean, some of those Mario sets now do, but I mean, in general, regular Legos. They're there. You buy them, you have them. And you can build them again and again. In fact, everything for Legos is DLC. You buy another Lego set, it's DLC for your previous Lego set. Every year I do tend to buy the new modular building for my city. That's a nice investment. And if they come out with anything really cool that I need to buy, like there's a new set that just came out, the El Dorado Fortress. It's one of the original pirate things they redid. It's like $200-ish though, so PlayStation Plus is doing the same thing as well. I'm spending $120 yearly on the premium just to play Tekken 2, which is stupid. Yeah, because at some point, couldn't you have afforded a used copy of Tekken 2 and whatever variant that came on? I think that if that was like a PS2 or a PS1 game, you could easily have purchased the system and the game and a myriad of backup controllers pretty quick at $120 a year. But hey, I'm not here to tell anyone what to do with their money. I just spent money on used Legos on eBay. So, to each their own. Some of which just got here today. I'm really happy to get and use to make more castle wall stuff. I got a incomplete copy of Black Falcon's Fortress from the mid-'80s and a 24-pack of the castle wall pieces from the 80s. And I'm going to expand my castle wall from my King's Castle, my current Black Falcon's Fortress, my Knight's Castle, King's Mountain Fortress, Black Monarch's Castle, and any of the other buildings I happen to have that associate with that. Only way I can play Tekken 2 is on the next gen, is on PS3. I do have the disc copy, but I can't play it on PS4. Understandable. Well, that's why I never got rid of any of my old systems, just in case. I mean, I have all the way back to my 2600 still in this house. That's an Atari for all of those of you who are too young to understand what that is. And I did acquire a 5200 and a 7800. My 5200 is still missing the TV adapter part, which costs about $50 on eBay, which is the only reason I haven't cared, because it's still a 5200. And I have the 7800 anyway, so, I have priorities. You don't either. You still have your PS2 and PS3? Good move. I don't own a PS1, but my PS2 and PS3 both play PS1 games, so I'm going to call myself covered for now. I mean, my PS3 is definitely my Blu-ray player for this room, no question. It has a job for life. And the PS4 became the Blu-ray player for the bedroom. Once the PS5 moved in, something went ding. I'll know in a second. It's usually a follow or something. Hyper Wolf 2004. How am I? Why, I am just lovely. Welcome. And thank you for the follow. Welcome to my stream. I've just been babbling here for the last almost 3 hours. And it's good to have you in here. Monday nights, I usually am just on chatting mode. So, yeah. That's what we do here. Wednesdays, I play games in fursuits. Same time frame, so 7 to 10-ish Eastern on both days. Mondays is VR chat. Wednesdays currently is Cult of the Lamb, if you want to come join me playing that. I used to have a PS1. Younger me didn't know how to take care of games. I can understand that. I got my first PlayStation 2. You're welcome, Fam-E. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. My first PlayStation was the PS2 that I got after my first job after college. Before that, I had Nintendo and Genesis products. The only one that didn't survive was my original NES, and it wasn't because I mistreated it, because those things were volatile. And I tried to fix it, so unfortunately, it died a sad death. Currently, the only thing I have that can play NES carts is my Retron 5, and I'm okay with that because that does plug into the HDMI port on the TV, which is not a bad way to deal. And it seems to play on my NES, and the one Famicom game I grabbed at a store just because it existed, and I wouldn't say I owned a Famicom game. It was one of the Mickey Mouse games. I don't know which one. I can't get very far in it because it's in Japanese, and that was like Nintendo hard type. So yeah, that's just gonna stay. I did buy a lot of PS1 games for my PS2 because at the time, used video games were very much a thing, and we still had a variety of stores. It wasn't all just GameStop. You had Babbage's and you had EB, and I had a car. And I drove to all the different malls and bought all sorts of stupid games. I would go back in time and play PS1 up to PS5 again. I feel ya. I'd consider buying an actual PS1, but honestly, even the PS2 was limited to S-Video at best, so trying to play that on a newer TV is getting a little harder. And I'm not getting a tube TV just to play old games. I play on Switch, and Switch has Twitch on it. Awesome! I am all for twitching on your switching. Switchy twitchy, switchy witchy, twitchy 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 twitchy. I know quite a few of my friends that use Twitch on their directly on their video game systems, and I am all for that. I tend to stream from my computer, but I do have a pretty okay gaming rig. Everything's getting expensive nowadays, even games too. Yeah, they really are. I was kind of bummed when I first started seeing games were hitting the $70 mark for a new triple alpha style game. Really starts to make me think before I buy one anymore. Back in the early 2000s, it was really easy to get a lot of used PS2, PS3, original Xbox, or even older stuff, Genesis, Super Nintendo, if you really wanted it. Just go to one of those game stores and just you drop a 20 and you walked out with a bag of games. That was how easy it was. Now you go to a GameStop. Okay, you can buy it new for $70 or used for $65. And I'm like, biznitch. Yeah, it's hard to just buy everything just to buy it now. I haven't bought new games since Resident Evil 4 remake on PS5. Can't remember which game we bought last on the PS5, but we now have quite a stack of those games. We got our PS5 in October of last year. What is Fopsy Woo playing right now? Oh, Final Fantasy? Yeah, I think we got the new Final Fantasy on that. That was the newest one we got. So at least I know that much. I did get a used copy of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collection. I haven't played it yet, but I got it for like $30, and I had a $5 off thingy, so I got it for like $25. So I'd say that's a value price for buying a game like that. I should take some time to play that. I have not. I bought the PS5. I'm the one that went and stood in line for it back in October of last year. And I played all of maybe 20 minutes of the Lego Star Wars saga I picked up that day. Elsewise, I haven't touched the thing. My very first game system was a PS2 with the very first Call of Duties and the old Need for Speed Most Wanted. Wow. Hyperwolf, you so young. If you weren't here for it, what's your favorite games you love playing? Oh, lots of them. My first game system was an Atari 2600. am old. Favorite games I love playing. There are a lot of them. And a lot that I can easily say going back to. A lot of the older Zelda games are definitely high on my list. The original two, Link and Zelda, Link's Awakening, Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time. Most of the old Mario games, 1, 2, 3, World. And some of the new Super Mario Brothers games were really fun too. Infamous and Infamous 2 are really high on the list. Borderlands totes up on the list. Um, uh, but there's a lot of games. I have a variety in my life. I played a lot of Pokemon games. I've played so many things. It's hard to say what's a favorite because there's so many that were good. So many that make me happy. It depends on the mood. That really comes down to it. It really depends on the mood. Not really. I was born 19. That's why my number is the year of the Lord. It's understandable. I am more than two of you, Hyperwolf. uh, uh, my favorite story heavy game is Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver, and Soul Reaver 2. Those were fun. I remember playing those when they were new, too. Um, Looking back, the original Soul Reaver 2, it really is old. Uh, wow. Yeah, I think I have all the Legacy of Kain games, including the first one. And Blood Omen 2, Blood Omen 2, Soul Reaver 2, and Legacy of Kain 3, I think was the other one was called that involves both Kain and Raziel. All of which were great. I had Soul Reaver had a lot of cut con on it as well. Soul Reaver was all of the Soul Reaver games are great. All of the Legacy of Kain games in general were fun, except maybe the first one. 100%. They were good 3D gamers. I cannot argue about anyone that enjoyed any of those games. I certainly did. Bought them all. Actually played some of most of them. To be fair, I don't think I played my copy of Soul Reaver because by the time I bought it, I'd already played it on a friend's Dreamcast. I have it on PS2 when I was a PS1 game. I mean, it's on my PS2, but they were all fun. They were fun to play. I liked being vampire or undeaded vampire. Both are good ways to go. It is 10 o'clock. I have been going for over 3 hours. Oh my. Yeah. I probably need to wrap up. I apologize to anyone that's still feels like chatting, but we all have our limits. And I think I know where I want to raid you all off to. I see somebody on that I haven't gone to in a while. And I think they like company. Boop. Let me pull up the keyboard and get things started. Oh, cool. They were actually on my list. I didn't have to do any of the hard work. That saves time. Boop. Move over here. Thank you, screen. It's been fun. Okay, thank you. Please stick around for the raid. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you enduring my chatting all this time. I got through half of one of the topics. That is beautiful. That means I have plenty to talk about next week. And, yep, I'm here on Mondays, same time frame, 7 to 10 Eastern. Wednesdays, 7 to 10 Eastern as well, playing games in Fursuit. Come enjoy my Fursuits yapping at you as well. And playing currently Calls of the Lamb. And in general, y'all been awesome. I also have a Discord server down there. I did put my Mastodon in my description, my About section as well. My Twitter, I'm still going to keep calling it Twitter because that's how I roll. My YouTube channel and my FA account is down there in case you want to look at art. All right, well, all right, I am going to go eat some ramen, and you're going to go play with Vix Fox. Please give that Foxy some love. They are a sweetheart. Anyway, have a good rest of your day, and thank you for joining me. Bye-bye for now. Click.